This giant phoenix is made from 4 tons of carbon, the annual carbon footprint of the average person. We built it with the help of bamboo experts in Malaysia, rural communities in Thailand, and thousands of hours of testing, building, failing, and trying again. Also that we could figure out whether or not it was possible to build an installation out of 4 tons of carbon, which also happens to be my own carbon footprint for a round-trip ticket from Montreal to Thailand. But how do you build art out of the invisible? Well, let me tell you about biochar. The adventure begins with 2 friends of mine, Khom and Nui,
My beer is always half full.
who use bamboo offcuts to produce biochar. Normally, these trimmed offcuts are thrown into piles like these where they get burned, releasing carbon straight up into the atmosphere, which is terrible for the health of the locals and for the environment. And instead of letting all this material go to waste, Khom over here is creating biochar!
Yay!
And it's made by pyrolyzing organic material in a giant kiln like this. And while this might look like a giant pile of burning bamboo, which it technically is, most of the material is actually located here in the bottom of the kiln, which never contacts oxygen. If carbon doesn't meet oxygen, well then CO2 is never formed, which means all that's left is this. Pure, hard carbon, ready to be locked up in the ground for generations. But what if, instead of locking it in the ground, we create art with it, so that the entire world can learn about this amazing technology? After all, I've successfully taken boring, ugly materials and transformed them into larger-than-life, epic art installations to tackle the world's greatest problems. Electronic waste, fast fashion, ocean plastics, fossil fuels, microfibers, climate change. It's just really depressing. What if I could do the same with solutions? All I needed was the perfect metaphor. Something that was born from fire. Something like a phoenix. One of the problems with the biochar that comes out of those kilns is that they explode. Look at this. How am I supposed to build anything with this? But what we really want is this. Long, beautiful sticks of bamboo biochar that is not too brittle. Look, doesn't break apart. The good news is that there are many different ways of making biochar that have been pioneered all around the world. There are the $1 million machines and small, little tiny ones like this.
We just use the old barrel and then insulate it. We use the biomass and some oil. We're heating it up. This is just like an oven. We're heating it up until the temperature inside the kiln is around 300 degrees. And then the syngas start volatile and then it will cook inside. You know, the temperature inside will go up to 500 degrees and then it's only pure carbon left.
Oh no, okay, so batch number 1 here is a little bit of a failure. As you can see, it hasn't really burned properly. All right, and here we go. Batch number 2. It works, look at it. These could be tiled, so they look almost like feathers. I wanna take this model, which is our phoenix.
Wow, that's cool.
And it's really good to have the structure backlit, so if the phoenix was going that way, it would be pretty good. One of the best parts about ambitious art projects is that the community always wants to get involved. We're realizing how much work it is, and we need some extra helpers. So we end up at Rangsit University giving a presentation, trying to convince people to be a part of our project. He's embellishing my story. And it is a breeze. Over 24 students love the idea and agree to join us for the entire week.
Another person Khom introduced me to is called First, a young engineer, but he's never really built anything before.
The fact that I don't understand what's going on is a lot more calming. I don't need to stress because I'm not hearing how different things might not be going according to plan. So now I just have to have a lot more faith.
Actually, I don't interest in this project because I work a lot and I so try it until I met Ben at Malaysia.
If this project doesn't work out, it's his fault. But if it does, my credit. It's gonna work. It's gonna work, right? What? See, 100%.
110?
110%.
It's quite crazy. And I think sometimes I would like crazy something like this. Everything possible. That's why I joined.
Him paired with Anon.
แผนก็เปลี่ยนทุกวัน
These are the people that made me feel like we can actually manage to pull this off. We are finalizing the foundation. We're perfectly behind schedule.
So the original plan was to build this wing on the ground, cover it with biochar, and then lift it up into position.
But how on earth will that be stable?
There's no way we're gonna get this in the right position without the scaffolding. With the biochar and everything, it's gonna crack. Means that we're gonna have to build this whole thing 3 stories up in the air on bamboo scaffolding that we're gonna be homemaking tomorrow. No, we need a lot more scaffolding.
We need more. Yeah.
We need
You just said already done.
No, we need a lot more.
Need more. Need more first pan. First pan you need too much. And make that.
I need a lot more scaffolding. We need more helpers.
To make sure he get what we want to. All right. Bye-bye. Good night.
When working on these experimental community projects, you have to be nimble. Every day, our plans would shift just a little bit. So you come up with an idea of something that might work, like drilling holes into the biochar so that you can string them all together and then lift them up into position, only to realize it doesn't work because the orientation of the curtains doesn't quite match the actual orientation of feathers. And then it's back to the drawing board.
Yeah, 2 is easy.
Dangerous! So scary, so high.
I mean, we went from trying to do like these curtains of biochar.
And now we're suddenly finding ourselves taking these individual strings of biochar, attaching them one at a time.
Anon came up with this amazing idea to use this recycled electrical wire that we had lying around. Audrey is just a supervisor.
He cracks a lot. He keep cracking stuff.
It was miserable, we were soaked, but at the end of the day, we got like a third of our wing done, the hardest part. But I'm a little worried at how long this whole thing is taking, so I think we're going to have to go for a night shift.
I think it's a little bit loose.
We are losing volunteers tomorrow, so we're trying to get as much done as we can. These beautiful lights also attracting a ton of bugs.
Oh, you guys cannot see anything, right? Yeah.
Whose idea was this?
Oh, stinky bug.
Okay, this isn't working, guys. I give up.
So far, I'm a bit nervous because sometimes I feel like all the plans still behind the schedule. We will make it happen in either way, no worries. Okay.
It's rare to find folks like Com and Nui who will just show up, provide everything that you need to the best of their ability. They inherited this land and it was completely degraded because it used to be a mango plantation. They have been using a bunch of regenerative agriculture techniques, including biochar, in order to convert this place into a bamboo farm.
There are many species, like 1,500 different species of bamboo in the world, so they think
You need a bigger farm.
I can't have all of them.
Bamboo is absolutely magical. It sequesters more carbon than trees and produces more oxygen.
When we do bamboo cultivation, we don't only do bamboo. We need a real tree that goes very tall, like 30 meters tall, to make a competition.
Bamboos need friends to become strong.
We talk to our customer what is their purpose of growing bamboo, and then educate them because sometimes they don't know what they want.
And how old are these little bamboo guys?
We kept them for 2 years already.
This is 2 years. Why are they so short?
We want them to be strong. The root is very strong. 2 years, what they need to grow. Once that we put it in the soil, they can, all right, I need to go.
Not only can bamboo be converted into all the raw materials that we need to thrive, it can also be sustainable and regenerative, especially if we convert all of the offcuts into biochar. I kind of wish we had like 3 extra days and we could just go in and spend time fixing up little details, little patches, little holes. Hopefully it flies out into the world and does what it's supposed to do, which is attract some much needed attention to the amazing opportunities that biochar offers us right here, right now. Right, buddy? I have a name for you yet. I think the next big thing is really what this whole thing's gonna look like once we take off the scaffolding. free. All we got to do now is to add a tail. Oh, I don't know. I sound so tired. So hot. But the bird is free. I need to take photos in about 6 or 7 hours, so we have to get everything here done, cleaned, and ready to photograph. So today's a big day, very busy. Now that I'm thinking about the photographs that we're taking, I'm noticing this huge pile of gravel that was actually brought in to prevent the ground from getting too muddy. Now, I didn't really think about it much because there was so much going on, but when we took this gravel and spread it across the entire ground, I started to realize how terrible it looks. Why? Because biochar is supposed to be healing the soil, and this phoenix can't heal some dry gravel road. It needs dry, damaged soil, and that's when Calm decides to step in.
Can't believe it, he found a tractor. Today I was complaining at lunchtime to Calm about these ugly rocks, and he's like, let's fix it. I'm like, we have 2 hours left. He's like, I can find a tractor. I'm like, you sure? Anyways, we have a tractor.
I think it's the first time I've worked with someone who had a bigger can-do attitude than me.
Difficult doesn't mean impossible.
At the end of the day, photography and video is how these stories get remembered. Because not everyone is going to be able to see this art installation in person.
ดีใจด้วยว่าได้รับความสมบูรณ์จะเจริญ
When we look at the world, there's almost always this separation between earning money and making the world a better place. What I love about this project is that it's an opportunity for us to support both people and planet.
The whole intention is to create a conversation.
There's no need to wait for corporations to do the right thing. We can start right now, funding carbon removal projects and supporting community-based solutions like Calm and Nui with a simple monthly subscription. I think a monthly subscription to carbon removal is like a subscription for hope. It's believing that change is possible. So if you'd like to join me in supporting Calm and Nui, definitely head over to biocharphoenix.com where you can learn more about biochar, share it with your friends, and take responsibility for your own carbon footprint. I would love to make more projects like this. One of my personal goals is to start focusing more on solutions. What's working with the world? What is right with the world? What is giving you a sense of hope and possibility? Regardless if it's a startup, organization, or company, hit me up in the comments. I would love to learn about them. And who knows, maybe we'll end up working together. I'll see you around, guys.
We're gonna take some fire photos. I happen to be a fire breather, so we're going to attempt this. We have a wet shirt as safety. And
2, 1.
how we doing?